Okay, let's read some more. In Synthetic Superintelligence and the Transmutation of Humankind, a Roadmap to the Singularity and Beyond. You might notice this if you've been watching these videos. This looks a little different as far as the book goes. This is from the PDF. I've been reading from the website where the book is, and it's down. I don't know if it's a permanent thing, if it's a glitch, or what. It wouldn't surprise me if it's not a permanent thing, but who knows? I don't want to go there really. And it's going to take me a little bit to adapt to this format in a way, but we're in Chapter 5, The Race for Immortality. And we're on the section that begins with how the super rich want to buy immortality. From what I have observed, children of super rich families develop in 3 different stages. The first stage is that of excitement and a willingness to buy the whole world. The person buys ultra expensive cars, houses, vacation homes, palaces, yachts, and perhaps ships. Moreover, he or she will probably travel around the world, make friends with the super rich in other parts of the world, and enjoy himself or herself by arranging parties, going to other rich people's parties, experiencing as much sex as he or she can handle, and take party drugs, such as cocaine and heroin. As time goes by, all this life in abundance and luxury either gets the best of the person and the body begins to decline, or he or she gets bored with life after having exhausted all of the options that used to make life exciting. What is there left to do when the party life and luxury do not appeal as much as they used to? Of course, buying an odd commodity that only this person would have in his or her possession, thus making it possible to brag in front of the rest of the bored jet set, is one thing such a person could do. Then hopefully his or her rich friends will get impressed and make this person, with this strange commodity, the big subject in discussion. The bored jet setter's big ego would be pleased again for a while. When this gets old, too, the person in question would probably begin to think about aging and dying. Normally, he or she does not want to die, and it doesn't matter so much whether he or she believes in an afterlife, including reincarnation. Regardless of how bored the person might be, he or she does not want to lose their life of luxury. What if this person reincarnates into a middle-class family next time, God forbid? Or perhaps life ends completely at the very moment of death. Horrible thoughts. Hence, when a way of obtaining immortality becomes available, the person jumps on it. For those who want to read more about this, the London-based newspaper, the Evening Standard, recently ran an article about how London super-rich will potentially reach serious life extension with quite a lot of help from cutting-edge scientists. At the end of the DNA are caps called telomeres. Dr. Mark Bonar, a cellular aging specialist, compares the telomeres to the plastic at the end of shoestrings. They prevent the end from fraying. In fact, the longer the telomeres, the longer the lifespan of a person will potentially be. A product called TA65 has now been patented and has been around in the U.S. since 2011. TA65 allegedly has the ability to rebuild the telomeres and make them longer, pausing the aging process. When tested on fruit flies, an insect commonly used in genetic experimentation, fruit flies and humans apparently have something in common. It doubled the lifespan of the insect, and when tested on mice for cancer, the cancer rate fell by approximately 30%. TA65 is not an operational procedure. It is being prescribed in capsules or as a cream. Moreover, Dr. Bonar says that other factors of the human body could also be considered for improvement. An array of blood tests are being performed, and wherever improvements in prolonging life seem to be necessary, this area or these areas of the body are addressed. Also, nutrition is taken into consideration to create a balance, and when needed, growth hormones are used. An annual plan costs from £10,000 $14,500 and up. Upon that, there are most likely additional costs, depending on what needs to be done. This is perhaps too expensive for the average Joe, at least thus far. For the super rich, however, it's spare change and cheap. At the time when the Evening Standard article hit the press, Dr. Bonar was treating a foreign royal family. They told him, quote, "I am running my empire. Your job is to keep me healthy," unquote. Is there any wonder that David Rockefeller is 101 years old, and George H.W. Bush is 91, Henry Kissinger is 92, Queen Elizabeth is 90 and counting, and they are still actively running empires or staying involved in the world of politics, including traveling and attending meetings? Assuming some of these dinosaurs are humans and not AI or clones, they may have had a visit or two from scientists such as Dr. Bonar. Dr. Bonar may not be the only person using these kinds of life-extending techniques, but he is not without controversy either. On December 10, 2015, the British news media, the Mirror.co.uk, posted an article on Dr. Bonar, which revealed that he was accused of having mistreated a 46-year-old woman with cervical cancer, not telling her she was terminally ill. As a result, the woman died, and Dr. Bonar was, when the Mirror ran the article, in hearings about the case. He denies all misconduct. Morals and ethics are difficult, if not impossible, to find in this field of practice, as well as in many other administrators-based practices. How far are we from immortality? Thus far, we have more or less concentrated on how scientists are experimenting with life extension of the biological body. But what about the future artificial part of posthuman, the part that makes a cyborg? Even robots break down and need to be repaired. How is this going to be done? Will other cyborgs repair a damaged artificial body part? It seems logical that a cyborg will go to their doctor and get his or her body part repaired, but that is not what the AIF and their administrators have in mind for us, and we can now see clear and quite disturbing evidence of this already. And I just want to put a reminder there on the AIF is the alien invading force, and I'm going to try to include that whenever I see those three letters, but then that might freak some people out. But anyway, continuing here, in an article published on SputnikNews.com on May 28, 2015, we are given a preview in the article embedded video of what's to come.
Robots that can adapt like natural animals. A paper in Nature that describes damage recovery in robots via the intelligent trial and error algorithm. How can we get robots like these to adapt to damage like natural animals? Before deployment, a robot uses a novel algorithm to autonomously create a map of different ways to behave and the value of each behavior. Here is a variety of entirely different ways to walk produced by this algorithm. Note that the behaviors are only tested in simulation at this point. The discovered behaviors create a map of the behavior performance space. The map shown was created with the Map Elites algorithm and contains the robot's intuitions about different ways to move and the predicted performance of each way of moving. Now see the undamaged robot controlled by a classic tripod gait. Note that the robot moves straight and at a speed of 0.25 meters per second. The robot has now become damaged. Let's see if it can still walk. Unfortunately, this robot, like most robots, no longer works if damaged. Because the pre-damage behavior no longer works, the robot needs to adapt. The robot conducts a handful of experiments to determine a behavior that still works despite the damage. To do so, it combines Bayesian optimization with its intuitions about the behavior performance space provided by the map from the Map Elite's algorithm. Here is the first gate from the map it tries. Each experiment updates the robot's understanding of which behaviors work and which do not. After the map is updated with this new information, a new type of behavior is tested by choosing a high-performing behavior from a different region of the map. The map is then updated based on that experiment, and the process repeats. Note that the map is getting more blue over time, meaning that the robot is learning that most of the performance predictions from simulation on the undamaged robot do not perform that well on the real damaged robot. In less than 40 seconds, the algorithm has discovered a gate that's nearly as effective as the original. Because the map predicts a better gate may still exist, the robot conducts one more test, but that prediction turns out to be wrong. The intelligent trial and error algorithm thus terminates, selecting the best gate found, which is nearly as fast and straight as the original. Watching the gate in slow motion reveals that it is dynamic and really seems natural. It almost looks like a wounded animal limping away. The gate is mostly straight and is 96% as fast as the original gate before damage. The same algorithm can work with many other robots. We tested it with a robotic arm. Like many robots in factories, the arm's job is to place an object into the appropriate bin. In this case, damage occurs when one of the motors becomes unresponsive. Once again, the damage prevents the robot from performing its job. The robot needs to adapt, so the same intelligent trial and error algorithm is launched. Here you can see multiple different behaviors being tested, the performance of those behaviors, measured as the distance to the target, and the map of predicted performance values being updated. In the upper right-hand corner, you can see how long the process takes, which is only a matter of seconds. In less than 20 seconds, without one of its motors working at all, the robot is able to adapt and complete its task. Our experiments verify that intelligent trial and error enables the legged robot to adapt to at least 6 different types of damage, including completely removing 2 legs, and 14 different types of damage to the robotic arm, including 2 motors being broken. When a piece of one of the legs of the hexapod breaks off, the classic tripod gate no longer works. Here is the result of intelligent trial and error after only 25 seconds. In this case, the damaged robot is even faster than the original. Now let's see what happens with the robotic arm if 2 of its motors don't work. The original behavior no longer performs the task, as expected. But after 28 seconds, the arm adapts and is able to drop the ball in the basket. For more information and additional videos, please see our paper in Nature.
The scientific community demonstrates how robots can already repair themselves without outside assistance. In this experiment, a 6-legged robot is quickly resuming its functions even after being severely damaged. It only took the robot less than 2 minutes to self-heal after having 2 of its legs broken, and it could soon resume full walking capabilities. A robot arm could also place an object where it was supposed to be located, even with several broken motors or joints. Behind this development is a French team, led by 2 roboticists from the Pierre and Marie Curie University. The Sputnik News article states, quote, "One thing we were surprised by was the extent of damage to which the robots could quickly adapt," study co-author Jean-Baptiste Moret told live science. We subjected these robots to all sorts of abuse, and they always found a way to keep working, unquote. We don't need to have a lively imagination to realize that this, when fully developed, will be of major importance after the Singularity. Not only will robots incrementally, within a short time period, take over the majority of the job market, but they will also become almost invincible. We are not far from the point, as we will see later in this book, when machines are merged with artificial consciousness, which is of course also the definition of artificial intelligence. If such a conscious robot in a work situation would run amok, there is little the few remaining workers can do except run for their lives. When mentioning this, there are those who will laugh it off and say that robots will not run amok. They are not programmed to do that, and the idea is just something taken from science fiction literature. However, the threat is quite real, another thing we will examine in a later chapter. Self-repairing robots open up powerful potentials in many different fields. Such robots can go where humans can't, e.g. out into space and deep down into the oceans of Earth. Thus far as the public is aware at least, none of this has been largely done because a human has to go with the robot in order to repair and maintain it. In the near future, this will no longer be necessary. Don't get fooled by what seems to be primitive robots in videos such as the one above. These are old prototypes, used to prepare us for the future. Robots that very much resemble human beings are just waiting for the time when people have been prepared for them. In fact, they have already introduced us to some of them, as I will show you later. Sputnik News also states, quote, rather than relying on pre-specified contingency plans, the robots are programmed to store knowledge from previous experiences and create a map based on these behavior performance histories. When damaged, they access that knowledge and adapt accordingly. In other words, the robot learns from its mistakes and handles it accordingly, and then stores the procedure in its memory bank. I believe the reader can see where all this is going. We humans sometimes say that it's okay to make a mistake once, but if we make it twice, we better start paying attention. A third mistake of the same kind is considered sloppy or even stupid. This does not apply to future robots. They only make a mistake once. Funding Immortality. Funding for these projects is not difficult to get. Multi-billionaires are happily spending millions of dollars to support technologies that can expand their lives for eternity. Few seem to care whether it's a life as a cyborg or not. After all, these super-rich people expect to remain at the top of the pyramid anyway. Bill Maris, for example, who is the president and managing partner of Google Ventures, spent, or was planning to spend, $425 million on the project in 2015, according to Bloomberg.com. This may seem as a considerable amount, but is still a drop in the ocean. There are investors who are willing to spend much more. Nevertheless, it won't be enough in the long term. No private companies will be able to fund it all. Therefore, it was allegedly decided that the United Nations should be the credible world organization to introduce transhumanism and the Singularity on a global scale. The expanded plan includes for the free market to make new technology irresistible to the masses, and then allow government subsidies to bring down the costs substantially in order to enable distribution of these same technologies. The administrators have already implanted into the New Age community the concept that we are all one, and albeit we are separated now, the idea is that we need to move toward oneness. The law of one, the raw material, we discussed earlier, has also contributed to spreading the message of oneness by telling us that evolving into a social memory complex where we are all connected and share each other's thoughts is a natural evolutional process. Without it, we can't evolve past 6th density, according to Ra. After the 7th density, we are all going to merge into oneness, according to this same channeled material. This is far from the oneness humankind should strive for, in my opinion. Our goal should be to regain the power of our original bodies from 250,000 years ago and further back, and not buy into the propaganda anymore, that spirit and mind are something that is separate from the body. We must stop participating in Lucifer's agenda. In fact, the New Age movement, with its slogan, "We are all one," suggests that we should go back and re-merge with Source. In New Age nomenclature, going back to Source means that we all should work towards ceasing to be individuals and merge into one being, i.e., Source, or all that is, God. It makes little sense that this is the oneness we should concentrate on. After all, why would we merge with Source if Source created us to become individuals? We are here in this universe to live and to explore it as separate, smaller units of the Goddess, and not to re-merge with her, the Divine Feminine. Therefore, the so-called New Age movement has assisted the AI movement in that they have helped them promote oneness in a way that better assists transhumanism as opposed to the real oneness, which is the realization that spirit, mind, body is one as in oneness. Transhumanism is also promoting oneness, where all people are equal and share the same database, the superbrain computer. However, in reality, the singularity is not oneness at all. It's separation to the extreme, where all of mankind will be separated from the multiverse, much more so than we are now. The superbrain computer assists humanity in creating a new virtual reality within the physical universe. A virtual reality distinct from the real multiverse, or the KHAA, now I'm not sure what that stands for, where there are no limits to what we can potentially create. Transhumanism is what the raw material seems to be promoting rather than freedom for mankind. They themselves, who claim to be us in the future, are seemingly nothing more and nothing less than a sophisticated AI program. I know this will not sit well with raw material enthusiasts, but sometimes we must evaluate our beliefs in order to move forward. Okay, that just feels like a pretty good place to stop here, so I think that's where I'll stop. It's a rather long chapter, like they all are, and I just don't want to make super long videos for people's attention spans or even their schedule. I mean, I know how it is. So we'll stop right there, and we'll try to pick up with this section, the singularity from a bio-human perspective, next time. So until then, I'll talk to you later.